What's going on, Patriots fans? This is Jace back with another Mock Draft Monday here on the Patriots Draft Podcast. Did a little bit more of a fun one last week. I'm going to get back to maybe more of a traditional one, maybe not so much of the every pick has to be traded or the randomized ones, more of something that I think could happen and something that I would look at happening if I was the Patriots. So, of course, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the players I draft, at what positions, and then, of course, make sure you turn the notification bell on so that you're updated anytime we go live or upload a new video. So, without further ado, let's jump right into this mock. Thank you to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. With Underdog, you have a chance to 20 times your money in a single night. You just have to choose higher or lower for whatever player stats you want, and you have a chance to win big. Pick anywhere from 2 to 5 players by downloading their app or going to UnderdogFantasy.com. And now with their pick'em insurance, you don't even have to hit on all your picks to win the money. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you use code PATCHDRIVE today for your first deposit matched up to $100. It's ranked a little bit differently, so I want to see how the board falls, a little bit different software. The other reason is they have a little bit more player selection. Some guys in the later rounds that maybe I wanted to target that weren't in PFF. So just switch it up a little bit. Got a couple different guys that I haven't really talked about, but guys that I really do like from the pre-draft process and have gotten into their film. So that is the reason for me switching today, and maybe I'll stick with it for next week. Maybe not. We'll see. Just, really all depends. But it's a full 7-round mock draft here. We're under a month away from the actual 2024 NFL draft. So we're going full 7-round mock drafts from here on out. So starting off, guys, I have the Patriots taking quarterback Drake May. Now, this was my dream pick coming into the season, obviously, or coming into the offseason process. Obviously, you knew that you probably weren't going to beat Carolina out or the Bears for the number 1 pick. So you were fighting for that second overall pick. So I was like, hey, I'm fine with Drake May. I think Drake May has been one of the best quarterbacks in college football, one of the best prospects. This is a guy you want to take. He's 21 years old. He throws the crap out of the ball. He has the right size and measurables. Yeah, are there things to look at? Yeah, he's been a little bit inconsistent at times. I thought his pro day, he started off a little bit rusty, but he made every throw perfectly that you could have asked for him. You saw the ability there. You saw the arm strength. He drives the ball over the middle of the field. You get him with an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach like Alex Van Pelt. Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen was criticized for his mechanics coming out. Justin Herbert had a bunch of pre-draft questions on him. Those guys turned out to be just fine when they got in the NFL, got reps, and had a guy that was able to kind of construct them and mold them into an NFL quarterback. I have no doubt that Drake May can do that, guys. I feel like we're at the point right now where we're nitpicking things from Drake May. He's been so good the last 3 years that people are now like nitpicking things about him. Yeah, Jane Daniels had a more impressive year than he did this year, but consistently, every trait that I want in a franchise quarterback, I think Drake May has. I think he runs the ball very well for his size, kind of like Josh Allen does. He can scramble. He can make things happen. Nowhere near the ability as Jaden Daniels can, but he can make things happen. So he had a 89.1 passing grade this year. The 96.8 deep passing grade, ranked third in the amongst quarterbacks of 165 qualifying quarterbacks on PFF. He was really good when he wasn't under pressure, 91.7 grade. Just a guy, that, completed 75% of his passes, or sorry, 75% of his passes were adjusted completion percentage, had a top 10 big time throw percentage at 7.5%. He only had a 1.9% turnover worthy plays. I think he does a lot of things that you're looking for. Yeah, not consistently, but he shows enough flashes. And I really don't think the consistency thing is that much of a thing. Yeah, it shows up a little bit more than you'd like. But again, he's not 24. He's not 25 like Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, these Bo Nix coming out. He's 21 years old. He's one of the younger guys other than J.J. McCarthy. So you have time to mold him. Let him sit for a year under Jacoby Brissett. I think he could be one of the best quarterbacks in this class. I'm in love with Drake May. I know there's going to be the ACC comp on him. Guys, don't scout the helmet, scout the player. This guy has everything in my mind. And some people might fall a little bit differently, but if Drake May's there, that's my number 1 option. And then, we'll go from there. So a big Drake May fan here. I've said this. I think the Patriots want to find a way to accumulate some more draft picks. So obviously a trade down from 3, unless they get a massive haul, is not something that I think a lot of Patriots fans would like. So let's look at what the Patriots could do if they trade down from pick 34. So I have them trading pick 34 and a 6th-round pick to get an extra 2nd and 3rd-round pick from the Packers. So you trade down like 7 spots right here with the Packers. You get an extra 3rd-round pick there, and then you give up an extra 6, but that's fine because you got a 6 from the Mac Jones trade. So I think this is maybe how you accumulate one more top 100 pick. Then I have the Patriots taking wide receiver Ricky Pearsall out of the University of Florida. Guys, Ricky Pearsall is a guy who, for me, tested very well and kind of jumped up boards because of the way that he tested. Not that I wasn't looking at him before he tested, but I think you had some concerns. You're like, how fast is he really? What's he like? A lot of people have given him the Julian Edelman comp. He's a tough. He's one of the best route runners, him and Ladd McConkey. He ran a 4.41 40-yard dash. He had a 4.05 20-yard shuttle, the 5.10.5. He jumped 42 inches on the vertical, jumped 10'9" on the broad, and had a 6.4 3-cone drill. That 3-cone, that lateral agility thing right there, that was in the 100th percentile amongst the receivers at the combine throughout all year. So tested very well, not only straight line speed, but lateral quickness. And you see that in his film. He's so good at getting open. He had a very good year at the University of Florida. He's originally from Arizona State with Jaden Daniels, but 963 yards this year, 14.8 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns on 65 receptions. Like I mentioned, people say he's the Julian Edelman type of comp, right? It's because one of the best route runners in this class. He's very, very good at what he does there. Really good with his releases, really good run blocker. Does a lot of things very, very well. Maybe could be a little bit better run after the catch, but first off, you got to get, open to have the run after the catch ability. I think Ricky Pearsall has that, and then, he can make things happen. So 34 might be too rich for me. I'd like to see, like, at 34, a guy like Ladd McConkey maybe there. But if you were to trade down in the 2nd and get a Ricky Pearsall early 40s or mid 40s, I think that's the perfect range for him. And I think he could be a really good Z receiver. He doesn't have that height. He's only 6'1". He's not, a true X receiver like you would say AD Mitchell or Brian Thomas would be in this class, but he could be an outside Z receiver for the Patriots and have Demario Douglas, Kendrick Bourne kind of play opposite of him and let them do his thing. So with the Patriots' original 3rd-round pick, pick 68, they need offensive line help, right? And I know people have said that they feel pretty comfortable with who they signed with Chuck Okorafor, which, could be good. Mostly he's been a right tackle. Guys, Kieran Amagaji out of Yale, 6'5", 323 pounds. He didn't really do any of the testing because of injuries. He was 6'5", 323 pounds. He had a 36.25-inch arm length. He's going to be plenty big enough. He played 669 snaps at left guard in 2021, but ever since then, he's played mostly left tackle for the University of Yale. 98 flat true pass blocking efficiency according to PFF. Really, really good there. And this is the thing, is when you're taking an FCS prospect like Kieran Amagaji out of Yale, you need to see his dominance. And he's been dominating there. He only gave up 4 sacks in his total career. 3 of them came at left guard in 2021. So only 1 sack in his last 2 years. He's only given up 2 quarterback hits, 2 hurries in 2023. Really, really good right there. Good IQ. Obviously, going to Yale, you're gonna be a pretty smart dude. So there, good length, good athleticism. Plays a little bit high pad level, high waisted because of his size. Doesn't really have the quickest of feet, but this is a guy you're taking in the 3rd round. You could mold him, give him NFL experience, sit behind Chuck Okorafor for maybe a couple games or a year, and then he could eventually grow into a starting left tackle and could be a really good one because of the size and measurables he had. So right there, you're taking a chance on a guy in the 3rd round, but I really like him. And, obviously there's other guys later in the 4th or 5th, like Javon Foster, that I would take a chance on too. But I really like Amagaji out of Yale. I think he could be a very good piece for the Patriots in the upcoming years. Not going to fix the O-line issues this year, but could be someone down the line. I got to give credit to, if you guys didn't watch our latest mock draft, I did a live mock draft with Alex Barth. It was really fun. I really hope you guys have time to go watch that. We did a will of kind of randomness, but he pointed out something that I haven't really thought of or haven't really mocked in a while. Most of the time when I'm taking a secondary player for the Patriots in the draft, I look to go corner. He was like, hey, if the Patriots really want to get back to the cover 1, cover 3 heavy scheme that they've been doing in previous years and not so much last year, they need a true free safety. I don't know if there's a better one in this class than Kalen Bullock, 6'2", 188 pounds. Guys, this is about all he is good at, in my opinion. He's not a good tackler. He's not good in man coverage. He's very undersized with his strength. But, man, when you're talking about range, anticipation, ball skills, this is the guy you want to play kind of that center field role for your team if you're playing cover 1, cover 3. So last year he allowed 5 touchdowns, but he had 2 interceptions playing in that free safety coverage. If you go look at kind of his pie chart on PFF, I know you have to have a PFF subscription, but his run stop percentage and run defense grade is both 5. On a scale to 100, obviously. His coverage grade at free safety is 100. Coverage grade in the box is 98. Coverage grade in the slot's 71. And his force incompletion percentage is 94%. Guys, like I mentioned, there's not a better free safety guy in this draft. Kalen Bullock is the guy. I think that he could really come in and, be that guy there. You have Marte Mapu. You have Kyle Duggar, who you just extended. You have Jabril Peppers, but you don't have that true free safety that can play hash to hash, numbers to numbers, and play cover 1, cover 3 and consistently get to balls over, on the opposite side of the field. So he ran a 4.48, and, he has 32.5-inch arms, pretty big, pretty long guy. That's going to fit in really good in a cover 1, cover 3 type of scheme. And I think the Patriots kind of want to get back to something like that. So credit to Alex Barth for kind of mentioning that back to me and getting that thought in my head. But yeah, I think a true center fielder, free safety, captain of the defense kind of guy like that would be really good. And this is the extra 3rd round pick you get from the Packers in the trade I just did. Makes it obvious to do this. So the Patriots, if you're taking a guy like Drake May, you need to find more receivers because obviously he didn't sign anyone in free agency. At this point, I don't think they're going to make a trade. They could, but I would assume they're not going to. So you need to find another guy or have more options in the system. So I really like Jalen McMillan out of the University of Washington. Now, he's not Jalen Polk. He's not Rome Odunze, but this is another guy who Michael Penix really trusted and threw to him a ton on 3rd downs. 6'1", almost 200 pounds. He has 10-inch hands, which is good for receivers. You see that. He's a good hand catcher. Ran a 4.47, ran a 4.18 20-yard shuttle, jumped 37 inches, 10'7" on the broad, and had a 6'9" 3-cone drill. This is another guy that, like I mentioned, he's not the number 1 receiver like Rome Odunze is, right? He had 553 yards in 2023, 5 touchdowns. In 2022, he had 1,098 yards and 9 touchdowns. So he has that ability. He wasn't the number 1 feature guy in 2023, but he has the numbers in previous years. He can be a very reliable guy. I think if you have guys like Ricky Pearsall, Demario Douglas, Jalen McMillan, and Kendrick Bourne on the outside, you're probably sitting pretty dang good, and then you don't really have to rely on Juju, who I don't think is going to be a big part of this offense. You already cut Devontae Parker, so you need another guy. I think Jalen McMillan could be that guy. He's really reliable for Michael Penix, like I mentioned, really a part of that air raid offense at the University of Washington and why they are so good. He's really good at winning with leverage, finding the soft spots in zone, a little bit more of a feisty guy. He's not undersized, but feisty for 6'1", and a good route runner. Not as good as Ricky Pearsall, Ladd McConkey, but really good there. The only thing is he's not going to be like Tyquan Thornton or Brian Thomas or these down the field threats, Xavier Worthy, right? And I mean, maybe the Patriots don't want to do that. You do already have a Tyquan Thornton. So if you want to air the ball out 70 yards with Drake May's arm, you could do that with Tyquan Thornton, but you need guys that can consistently run really good routes over the middle of the field, because that's what I think Drake May's strong suit is. In between the numbers, his arm, his velocity, how he can throw it in there, I think is kind of what makes Drake May the elite prospect he is. So finding guys that can consistently create separation and get open in the middle of the field, man, I really like Jalen McMillan and Ricky Pearsall. That's who he's throwing to, and those are kind of the young guys that they add in this class. Another defensive guy, Kay. Now, this is a guy that probably a lot of you haven't heard of, Kay. Christian Boyd's an interior defensive lineman out of Northern Iowa, another FCS guy. He had an 89.4 pass rush grade, 83.9 run defense grade, 16.5% pass rush win percentage, and then a 7.8% run stop. Those are both like top 10 amongst interior defensive line in the country, not just FCS, like in the country, FBS too. 28 total hurries, 9 hits, 3 quarterback sacks, man. And this guy is someone who I think is a true run stopper, 6'2", 320 pounds. He's known for his explosiveness off the ball, his strength and his power, his hand placement. He's played a ton of different positions. Most of the time he's lined up in the A gap or B gap. He doesn't really get wider than the tackle.
But he can play a two-gapper. He can win with speed. He can win with power and his bull rush move, get there. I like Christian Boyd. I've taken an interior defensive line a lot just because of the loss of Lawrence Guy. Obviously, you're going to pay Christian Barmore a ton, but you need a guy opposite of him. And I think that Christian Boyd could be another one with Christian Barmore that complements him very well. Devon Gotcha is still there. He's more the run stopper guy, but you need a younger guy to develop there. You re-signed your pass rushers on the outside with Jennings, Uche. You have Keon White and Judon coming back, so you probably don't need another edge guy, but you need an interior run stuffer. And so I really like Christian Boyd. If you guys haven't watched much on him, just go watch him. He tore it up in the Hula Bowl. It was really good there, and he has really good film run stopping stuff when he was at the University of Northern Iowa in the FCS there. And they play in the Missouri Valley. They have to play South Dakota State, North Dakota State, some of the best rushing teams at that level of football. So really good right there. They got a double dip at some point for receiver and for offensive tackle. Obviously, you take two receivers, one in the top 100, another one just fringe outside the top 100, but I have Jalen McMillan as a top 100 player. Another guy for the University of Wyoming, and this guy tore up the combine, guys. He had a 95% athletic grade on RAS. He measured in at 6'8" and a quarter, 313 pounds. He jumped 31.5 inches on the vertical, 9'6" on the broad jump, which both of those were in the 92nd percentile or above. A 4.94 40-yard dash, which was second amongst offensive linemen this year at the combine, which was in the 96th percentile. He had a 4.73 shuttle, a 5.10.5, which was in the 61st percentile, but he had a 95th percentile 7.39 3-cone drill, L drill, whatever you call it. I mean, at 6'8", a guy should not be moving this well and having those type of numbers. It kind of reminds me of Blake Freeland. This guy's known more for his run blocking ability, a little bit inconsistent in the other areas, but man, is this guy really freaking good at what he does for the University of Wyoming. This is a team that has had over 200 rushing yards per year for the last 3 years, or per game for the last 3 years. He's been a big part of that. He's played a ton of snaps there. He's big. If you're taking a guy in the 6th round right here, this is who I want to take. I want to take a guy with size and length that we can mold, that we can let sit for a year or two behind Amagaji, behind Chuck Okorafor, behind Michael Winu. Let him develop. He's a little bit light and it doesn't quite have that strength there, but man, you can put that on him at the NFL level. So I really like Frank Crum. I think that he could be a huge addition for his offensive line. And, a lot of times you look at success in offensive linemen based on how they run. He's athletic enough to do that. And he could be another late round steal for the Patriots at the offensive line position. Wow, sorry, that was a real bad squeak right there. Last kind of position I want to hit on is the running back position. I've been adamant about this. I've taken guys before, whether it's Ray Davis out of Kentucky, whether it's Braylon Allen, whether it's Bucky Irving. I took more of the pass catching backs more early in the season or off season before they signed Antonio Gibson. But guys, with the new elimination of the hip drop tackles, I want the Patriots to draft big bodied guys that can make people miss, can break tackles, and are hard to bring down, because that's what it's going to come to. Can this guy one-on-one get this guy down without the hip drop tackle? Now, the hip drop tackle is a whole nother thing. I won't even go into it, whether it should or shouldn't be in the game. But this guy's 6 foot, 217 pounds, ran really well for the University of Washington. He ran a 4.68, so he doesn't have that super fast, straight line speed, but man, is this guy freaking powerful? Is he explosive? He had 129 gap attempts, so that's probably going to be a little bit different in the NFL with Alex Van Pelt's system, but we've also obviously really liked having two guys there too with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. So Ramondre Stevenson, Dylan Johnson, and then Antonio Gibson as a third down back. He had 699 yards after contact, which was top 30 in the country. He forced 43 missed tackles. And he also only fumbled the ball twice, which was, top 10, really good there. 1,189 rushing yards this year, 16 rushing touchdowns, and he also added 190 receiving yards. Like I mentioned, guys, decent vision. He's really good stiff arm, really good foot speed to make people miss in the backfield, but a powerful runner. He's bigger. I think he runs harder than Ramondre. Ramondre, obviously has his elusiveness and stuff, but he just runs harder than him. And I think that's what's going to be hard for teams to kind of tackle and bring down in the with the new rules at the hip drop tackle. So I really like Dylan Johnson. Again, this is a 7th round pick right here. I don't know if he lasts to there, but this is a guy that was really productive in college and, could be someone that's really good in the NFL and maybe eventually take over for Ramondre. He's not as good as some of the other running backs, in my opinion, Braylon Allen, Ray Davis, but, you take a guy like this in the 7th round and maybe he works out. And, he could be a good back, split in time with Antonio Gibson in a couple of years if the Patriots don't re-sign Ramondre. So, again, guys, really appreciate all the support. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know your thoughts on this mock draft, who you change, who you like, who you don't like, what you think the Patriots are going to do, or what you think anyone's going to do in the draft. Like, there's so many rumors swirling up for everyone. So, trade here, trade with this team. This guy's going to get taken over this guy. Let me know any of that stuff. And then, of course, make sure you use code PATCHDRIVE at Underdog Fantasy so that you guys can get your first deposit matched up to $100, win some money, whether it's baseball or basketball or hockey this season, or get ready for football season, save up some money there. So appreciate all the support. And until next time, talk to you guys later.